Welcome to the Gaggle, where we talk politics in Arizona and beyond. This week, City Hall politics are heating up. A congressman has a really interesting theory about who might be behind the protests in Charlottesville. But first, Diane Douglas and the State Board of Education have issued some grades of their own. What's going on, Ricardo?
School letter grades came out this week, and not too many schools are thrilled about the new grading system or the actual grades that they got. This system, which at least for elementary schools still relies heavily on AZ merit scores, has come under fire from some high-achieving schools, like basis schools, for what they believe unfairly penalizing high-achieving schools because of the way the new system values student growth.
So as a student, I mean, if I went into my teacher and complained about a grade, I would have a pretty high threshold to have to pass to get them to change it. What's the threshold here?
So there's about 270 letter grades that are still quote-unquote under review by the state. The majority of those schools appealed their grades for data integrity issues. There are questions surrounding whether or not the right data, so to speak, was used to calculate these grades. But you know, a lot of education advocates and educators had spoken out during this year-long process where they, spent trying to hammer this thing out, just saying that these letter grades, because they're so dependent on state standardized test results, at least for the elementary schools, essentially grading student poverty.
Okay, well, we'll continue to watch your reporting on that. Ron, Congressman Paul Gosar made national headlines for his comments on the white supremacist march in Charlottesville. What did he have to say, and is there any evidence to back it up?
Well, the congressman was interviewed by Vice News. This is a program that appears on HBO, and he was talking about some other issues, especially relating to blocking or not blocking constituents on Facebook and such. And the conversation sort of meandered into conspiracy land, where he's talking about the organizers for the Charlottesville rally this summer involving alt-right, neo-Nazi sympathizers, that perhaps a Barack Obama sympathizer, supporter, had been one of the drivers of this thing, and also intimated that George Soros, the all-purpose liberal fundraiser boogeyman, had helped the Nazis, get Jews off into concentration camps, I suppose.
I mean, he made national news for these comments, but has he said anything beyond what he said in that interview?
He hasn't gone beyond that that I can find. And the thing that's interesting about it is that in his district, I think that this may be something that can actually play well with his constituents. While a lot of folks will look at it and say, you've got to be kidding me, there's a lot of evidence that people, especially in the far right, really find this sort of information compelling and think that it gets played down too much. You can get away with it in his district, probably not so much in a district like Congressional District 9.
Good segue into City Hall politics. Phoenix Mayor Greg Stanton has announced his bid for CD9. There are a lot of dominoes that have already fallen and are to come. What's happening at City Hall, Jessica?
Yeah, so as soon as Mayor Stanton announced that he intends to run for Congress, almost immediately Councilman Daniel Valenzuela declared his campaign for the mayoral spot. A few days later, Councilwoman Kate Gallego did the same thing. So right now, we are in a position where at some point in the future, we will have a mayoral election and at least 2 city council elections to fill those seats that will be left open, because like I said, at some point, all 3 of those individuals will have to resign to run for their new spots.
So do you have a sense of when Stanton is going to depart and who might replace him?
I do not. I do know that he will have to do it before May 30th, but many people speculate he will do it before then. It's Congress, you're going to have to dedicate a lot of time to a campaign like that. As for who can replace him, I think both candidates have strong backers. Obviously, Councilman Valenzuela is a firefighter. Along with that usually comes a significant amount of campaign money, but Councilwoman Gallego is a strong fundraiser and she's been a strong campaigner, so I would say it's going to be an even match, and honestly, I would not be surprised if at least one or two other people jumped into the race before the day is done.
Interesting. Well, we'll be following your coverage. Ricardo, what are you watching for this week?
Just keeping an eye on how this new grading system has unfolded and going from there.
Ron?
The president's talking about ending NAFTA. That could be big for Arizona.
Jessica?
We all want to know when Stanton's going to resign, so I'll keep pushing on that.
Thank you for joining us. Please check out the Gaggle podcast for an extended version of our take on politics in Arizona and beyond. See you next week.